In order to access your view-only session of Cerner, you're going to come to this here web address, which you can either save as a favorite or you can save it as a shortcut on your desktop, however you feel more comfortable with it. And when you open the web page, it's going to have you sign in. So you're going to type in your username and your password in these prompts. The domain you can leave alone and you can click login. If it's the first time that you've launched Cerner, it may ask you to change your temporary password. You can go ahead and do that. The password requirements are at least 8 digits, upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and a special character. Once you're all set with that, you'll come here to what they call their storefront or their app store. And to use the view only functionality, you're going to go here to this PowerChart production. Once the PowerChart opens up, you'll be presented with this patient list. When you first come in, you won't see any patients on here because this is all a setup within the user, but I wouldn't be too concerned with that right now. I think the easiest thing for you to do is go ahead and search for the patient that you're looking for using either our search bar here by name or click on this magnifying glass. And once you're in the encounter search, you can search by last name as well as first name. You can also search by FIN number, which is the financial identification number or their encounter number, as well as their medical record or social security number or date of birth. Once you enter in any piece of information that matches there, you can go ahead and click search and it will give us a few different options. Up here at the top, it gives us the user name and medical record number, also gives us their date of birth, age, sex, address, and state. Down in the second box is all their encounters. So this is whenever the patient's been either in the hospital or to one of our outpatient clinics. And once we find the visit that we're looking for, we can go ahead and either click on it once and click OK, or double click on the actual icon itself, and that will open up our chart for us. And once our chart opens up, there's a few things we'll notice. Up here, we have our patient banner. So if you double click or just single click on the hyperlink that is the name, give us all sorts of information as far as demographics go for this particular patient. Here's all their visits, any documentation, insurance information, as well as any providers, so PCPs or specialists, and then all the way down the bottom is their registration information. So it's going to give us their address, their phone number, any information that we need here. And we can go ahead and close that out. The other thing on the banner is their allergies. If we click here, it will give us a hyperlink into the allergies. So you see this person is allergic to sulfa drugs as well as penicillin. And if there was any reactions or any information entered in on these for specifics, it would all show here for us. And we can say OK and shut it down. If they had any advanced directives and types, it would show here in the patient banner as well. This is the patient's age and sex, as well as height and weight. These, again, clickable hyperlinks. We can take a look at the result details as far as when it was measured, when it was last taken. And we go close that. Here's their MRN number. Again, that financial identification number, the PCP, as well as the attending. So this particular visit is a specialist visit, so her PCP is Megan Douglas, but the attending for this particular visit is Tambi Kurana because she is the gastro specialist. Date of birth, and this clinic FIN again is just for this particular visit, but if we do click on it, it does give us a list of their complete history of visits. So if we wanted to switch to a different visit, we could do that from here just by double clicking on one of these visits. It's going to give us a warning that says it's going to change us to the selected encounter. Do we want to continue? And we can say yes. And again, so you notice now we have a different location. We have a different attending physician here. PCP remains the same. Okay. So as on the view only view, you're going to have a menu over here. It's called the dark menu. It's going to give you everything that you need. You could just go down it piece by piece. So your orders comes up first. So it's going to show us anything that was ordered on this particular patient. It's going to categorize them into subheadings here. It will show you what was ordered, what the status of it is, and what the details were. Similar, you can go to the medication list, which is the second tab, and it will show you all of the medications that are prescribed for this patient. You'll also notice that it changed down here, jump to medication list. Clicking on orders will jump us back to the orders. The next tab down will give you any results for this particular patient. You can take a look and see here, switch from flow sheet to flow sheet. So different views of what we're looking at. Across the top, you can see their recent labs, which is going to be the last few visits, and then any extended labs will show you anything prior to that, if that was available for this patient. Pathology, microbiology, diagnostics, so any services that were done, any recent vital signs, and this date range will go all the way back, and any assessments on this particular patient. So we can take a look at everything all together. If you double click on any one of these results, it will pop up a results window and it will just give you a little bit better detail. The form browser here is any forms that were filled out on this patient. So here's a vital signs check, any ophthalmology. You can take a look, and if you double click on any of these, it will show you the form and it will show you what was filled out. You can click over on the sides and see anything that was filled out for this particular form. Once you're done, you can go ahead and red X out. Next one down again is the allergies. Same field that we saw up here when we clicked on this allergies. Just brings us a different way to the screen, but it just gives you all the same information. Diagnosis and problems is going to split the screen into two sections for you. At the top, we have a diagnosis being addressed at this visit. So that means that it's not a list of their chronic problems. It's whatever this particular provider discussed with this patient on that day. So here is this, what they addressed during that day. Any problems that are considered chronic or their problem list would show at this bottom half of the section. Patient info or outside records, again, same thing that we saw when we clicked on the patient's name up here. You'll notice in Cerner that there's usually at least two ways to do everything, just whatever you get more comfortable with. The next two are the MAR and the MAR summary. If there was anything on this patient that was being prescribed, probably more in line for inpatient information as opposed to outpatient, which you're going to find all in this medication list. Okay. The documentation's the next screen down, and this is pretty much going to give us everything that we're looking for as far as test results and office notes, things like that. If you see here, so it has a rapid strep, point of contact, the office visit note. One thing to note here is that all of our providers have been instructed to edit this subject line so that navigating through the chart's a little bit easier, and you can pick out the office visit note that you're specifically looking for because the subject line will tip you off to what that note is addressing. Okay. The next one down is the flow sheet, which again we've already seen. So it just shows us one quick way to look at that quick view that we saw up the top in the results review. And that brings us to the end of our view only for the chart. Just a couple of quick housekeeping things as far as Cerner itself is concerned. This full screen button here, if you click on it, all of those menu bars at the top disappeared. Full view, and it brings everything back up here on our button row. The other thing that I was looking at here is this recent button. So if we do a drop down here, it will give us the last up to 9 patients that we've been in contact with in the system. So if you're looking at multiple patients per day and you need to go back and look at one that you looked at, say earlier this morning, it's quick and easy to pull it up this way without having to go through that whole search again. Also in Cerner is this refresh button. So anytime you see these two arrows chasing each other, that's a refresh. Cerner as a system doesn't automatically refresh. So if there are labs being drawn today and resulted, and you pull up the chart, and while you've been in the chart, the lab results have come in order to be able to see those, you're going to go ahead and refresh, and that will change our screen and bring in the most up-to-date information. The last thing here is how to get out of Cerner correctly. We're going to go ahead and click on this exit button here. We're not going to click on this red X up here because that will lock up our system on us. We're going to click on this red X and we're going to get out of the application. Okay, that brings us back to our storefront of applications. The next step to get out of here is just simply up here on our name. We're going to click on it and we're going to click log off.